Cool. So we've got a lot of awesome functionality in our game now. So you can see the player jumping because they're so excited, and you see all these obstacles moving through the scene. Now, the one thing that you notice is that the player is standing incredibly still. Now, that's either because of one of two reasons. Either the player is moving so slow that they're not actually moving at all, or the player's moving so fast that our eyes can't even perceive how fast the player's moving, and so we can only see it as standing still. I'll leave that up to your own interpretation. So, in order to actually make the player look like they're moving in the scene that's constantly moving back and forth, we're going to need to play with the player's animation. So, what we're going to do is we're actually going to click on the player, and then in their inspector, you can see that there's actually an animator component already applied to it, and it has a controller for a simple character. So, what we can do is we can actually double click on that simple character box, and now you see that it actually opens up a brand new window in our scene for animators. Now, if you want to see all of the different windows that you could actually add to Unity, you can actually see on the top left, there's the window button, and then you can actually add a bunch of other windows that you can use. One that you might have seen before, you see that it actually opens up a brand new window in our scene for animators. Now, if you want to see all of the different windows that you could actually add to Unity, you can actually see on the top left, there's the window button, and then you can actually add a bunch of other windows that you can use. One that you might have seen before, actually, our console is where the game over message is being sent. So you can add other windows if you want to. So now in our animator window, you can see that we have a strange view of this button that says entry, but not really anything else. You can actually move around in this view. There's a lot more going on. So we can press the Alt key and hold it, and then left click and drag, and we can move around our little animator window here. Or we can use our mouse wheel and scroll in and out to zoom in and out. And if you click on your mouse wheel and hold, and then you drag it around, you can actually move around that way. So there's a lot of different things happening in our little animator window here. Now, first and foremost, the animator controller is the way that we actually control the states that the character is in at the current moment. So, in fact, when we're pressing play, our animator controller goes straight to our idle animation, which is why it looks like the player is not moving at all. So, the player's not moving. Surprise, they're not moving incredibly fast, they're just not moving at all. So our animator controller actually controls all of the different states that our character can be in. So our character can be idle, and then from idle, these arrows actually mean that they then can go into one of these different states. So it can go from idle into a walking static state, which means that they're not actually walking in a direction, they're just walking in place. You can also run in place with run static. You can walk in a direction using walk, or you can run in a direction. And so if you started to move, for example, maybe it'll go to the walk animation, and then when you stop moving, it'll go back to your idle animation, so you stand still. Now, a really cool thing is you can actually see what these different animations are like. So if we zoom in a little bit, if we were to double click on idle, you can actually see that it pops up a little animation preview, and we can actually press play, and you can see that the model isn't actually really doing anything. You can see it's just kind of waving its arms back and forth. If we choose, for example, walk static, double click on that, we have another animation. And so you can see it actually looks like this character is walking, which is cool. If we double click on run and we press play, you can see that this one is actually moving through the scene compared to if we go to run static, this one runs in place. So very helpful to know the states of all of these things. If we take a look at the arrows, you can actually see all of the different conditions that need to happen to actually make the character move, which we'll go into a little bit on how we can edit those and see those. So you can see we have these conditions for an actual speed. So say the player is not moving, their speed is 0. And then they start moving and it reaches a point where it's 0.25. Then it will actually go into this transition, and you can see this transition happen. So they're stopped, and then they start moving, and then it goes into walk static, and the player is just moving. So now what you're going to do is you're going to left click on the player in the hierarchy, and then under the inspector in the animator component, where you see controller, you're going to double click on simple character. This will open up your animator window for your player character. And so now you can go look around and see all of the different animation states. You can click into the different states by double clicking on them. And then you can preview their different animations like walking static or walking. And then you can take a look at some of the different transitions and see the different conditions that they need to follow to be able to move. Now it's your turn. You can go look around and see all where you see controller. You're going to double click on simple character. This will open up your animator window for your player character. And so now go into this transition, different conditions that need to happen to act and forth. If we double click on run and we press play,
Why is this able to? Is this popping up but I'm not seeing it somewhere maybe?